Everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, I want to discuss the question and answer of the hash table. We already discussed the hash table regarding hash table at my previous video. First video was hash table part 1 and also hash table part 2. Part 1 and part 2 separately, I discussed the different function of the hash table. What is the hash table? What is the utility of the hash table? Also some problem. That is the collision problem of the hash table. Also the primary clustering of the hash table, secondary clustering of the hash table, the solution of the primary clustering, that is the linear probing, solution of the secondary clustering, that is the chaining process, and chaining process also a part of the linked list. So linked list, if we want to further the chaining process, we have to implement the linked list. So separately, in every parts of the hash table already discussed. Today I want to discuss the question answer of the hash table only. So what is the hash table function? Hash table is a linear data structure we know. To access data, it is used mainly, and it also occupies the associative memory. Mainly it is works as an array. It computes an index called a hash code, and it generates the hash code, and also this is unique hash code. The two hash code is not similar of the different data type. We are getting different data type, but generating the unique hash code to retrieve the data securely. It is the main function of the hash table. So key property hash table function easily compute and generate unique code. So main purpose of the hash table is unique code generation. Two code of the input value will not be separate, will not be similar. So first and foremost function of the hash table is to generate the unique code for the different data type. Purpose of the hash function in data structure. Purpose, what is the purpose hash function? Actually, hash function consists has a mapping, data, and key. So hash function is a combination of three items: data, key, and mapping. So purpose of the hash function is, what is the hash function purpose? To create unique identification of each and every data element. Common problem of the hash function. The common problem of the hash function is collision. To avoid collision, we have to implement the perfect algorithm of the hash table. So common problem of the hash function is collision. Which type of the hash function use mathematical operation? Actually, a mathematical operation, which type of the hash function use mathematical, that is the non-cryptographic hash function. Non-cryptographic hash function use the mathematical operation. Primary goal of cryptographic hash function. Mainly cryptographic hash function is used for cryptography purpose. That is to hide the data, to implement data structure at different model, different way. It is mainly hidden purpose by the cryptographic function. So primary goal of the cryptographic function is security and integrity. Collision referred to when two defined types create a same output, then collision occurred. So input value different, of course, but output value will be different. But when output value of the two defined input is equal, then collision is occurred. Example of cryptographic hash function. One example of the cryptographic hash function is SHA-256. Perfect hash function. Perfect hash function requires no collision. When the collision is 0, then it is a perfect hash function. So we have to create a perfect hash function to avoid the collision. And the disadvantage of the cryptographic hash function, actually, you know, the cryptographic hash function is utilized for the cryptography purpose. That is, what it generate new types of data where to hide the normal data structure. And so it is very slow for the further operation of the cryptographic purpose. So the main disadvantage of the cryptographic function is very slow. Technique that can reduce the collision of the hash function. We know the hash function is a matter of size. also the havoc element is coming. So if we reduce the number of element, then this will be very energetic. Also, the size of the hash function is increased, then the collision of the hash function will be reduced. Hash function result. What is the result of hash function? Fixed length data set. We are giving so many types of the data, so many lengths of the data, but the output of is the fixed length data set or limited length of data set. Purpose of modular function. Modular function is used for fixed size of hash table. Modular function ensure the output of within the fixed size of hash table. So purpose of the modular operator is a fixed size of hash table. To improve the hash function, what is the requirement? To improve the hash function, it is a good hash algorithm. That is, we use normally 4 types of algorithm for the function, for the mapping purpose. That is also among them. Important part is the division and remainder process, another multiplication process, folded key process, etc. But important is that the application of the function at the appropriate position. So if we use a good hash function among the 4 functions, it is better, and the minimum number of collision will be less, data lost will be less, and the speed of the data hash function will be increased. Hash function benefit at database. What is the benefit of the hash function as a database? Database main purpose, data storage, data retrieve, and for retrieve, data search is required. So search purpose, to implement the search purpose, the main benefit of the hash function is search purpose. Data integrity hash function. The cryptographic hash function, data integrity is looked after or is abided by or showing by the cryptographic hash function. And which hash function is irreversible? SHA-1 is this hash function is irreversible. Hash function should be deterministic. What is the deterministic? Because when hash function is introduced, it generates a code that is called hash code, and this hash code identify the data location number, data location position. So it is a deterministic hash function. Which function is used as primarily as Bitcoin? Function name is SHA-256. Challenge of hash function. We know the first and foremost function duty, foremost curriculum is to avoid the collision, prevention of collision. It is not that we introduce the hash function collision-less. It is not possible. But prevention of hash function is the main challenge of the hash function. What type of data is used as input? Actually, input types is different. Maybe numeric, maybe alphanumeric, maybe string, maybe any types of the value of the input value, binary, etc., string, etc. But so any types of data we can give as input value of the hash function. No definite types is there of the hash function. Is most likely to cause clustering in a hash table. Clustering is a obstruction actually. Clustering, when hash function generate clustering, it is a main slackness, difficulties of the hash function. And this is the hash table where we generate the hash function by HK mod of M. By this function, the input key is M, and function that is there, input key is K, and M is the size of the hash table. What type of data is used as input value? Any type of data we can use at input value. What are the methods to handle collision? Actually, collision generate the clustering. Primary clustering and secondary clustering is generated by the collision process. So to break this clustering, we need 2 types of the method. First is separate chaining process and open chaining process. Actually, when we use linear probing to avoid the primary clustering and use chaining process, open chaining we can say, to avoid the secondary clustering. So this is the end of your video, and this discussion, maybe some important discussion may be there, and utmost as good as possible, I try to give you the best possible question answer of this part. So please, if any question at your end, then please write and best comment. Thank you, everybody.